say you like living on the streets, can you tell us what actually
Yeah.
happened in your life? Like, how did you end up on the streets?
Yeah, so I grew up in a very turbulent upbringing, a very turbulent household where I guess just wasn't needed anymore as a child. So I became a state ward, which means that I was under the care of the minister. Yeah, that's basically what happened. And I got picked up by Department of Community Services. Well, firstly, before that, I became homeless. So I would sleep next to like bakeries for warmth. And I often share this in my music. I often talk about how I overcame some of this stuff. I would sleep next to, actually this one story was I have a twin brother.
Yeah.
As you know, and we were homeless at the same time, and there was this, like a Red Cross, right? A Red Cross is a shopping center. It's like a shop. There's a lounge chair, and we turned it on its side, and we would crawl under there at night, and we would sleep under there many nights. And I would always know when the like morning milk runs would come, and the people would deliver the bread and bakeries and everything. So that was just a situation that to me was normal. I became independent from a very early age. And that's what kind of drew the spark for my music. That's how I kind of found that passion. I got picked up by Department of Community Services, was placed in foster homes, was placed in refuges throughout Sydney, and just kind of followed that journey.
Man, that's heartbreaking. That's really sad, man.
Yeah.
Because like family is important, especially we in Christmas now, Christmas time. And I always talk about how important families are, in your life, like close ties to your loved ones. And then you end up in the situation. Good days though, like I feel like you overcame this, this bad time. And I don't think it was that easy, but because me saying now it sounds easy, but I think it was the hardest moment of your life, right?
Yeah, I would definitely say it was a very hard moment of my life, but it was normal to me. Like I just gravitated towards it, and I just adapted to it. There wasn't really much. I just made it work. Like for another example was I would sleep in sand ditches in golf courses because I found like the wind would just go over me. It wouldn't like dig into it. So, and then I would get scrunch up newspaper and stuff it under my jacket. And that's kind of what helped me get through some nights. Yeah.
It builds resilience, made you the story you are today.
Yeah.
Like it's
literally
having to face adversity and like you took every challenge as an opportunity and you made everything easy. Because looking at you today, I'm like, how is this story coming from this man? Like you are a gorgeous, well polished artist that has stunned the world. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
So it's just insane.
Yeah, and I guess and then back to that music question.
Yeah.
That's what I use that as a tool to kind of pull me out of that kind of dark and use that as like to kind of heal from some of that trauma, some of that pain that people go through in life. And for me, it was just music. And I didn't write it for anyone. It was just for me purposely just to keep to myself. Yeah. It was good.
Awesome. So drive us in this timeline. So when you were on the streets, how old were you?
So I was around the age of 11.
11.
So around the age of 11, and then experienced homelessness for a while. I'd go into shopping centers to eat. I would go into I knew when the bakeries would do their the news agencies would do their milk runs, when the trucks would do their bread runs, and I would eat. Yeah. And that's what kind of helped me get through that. Once I got picked up by Department of Community Services, I was placed in foster homes first for a few years, and then placed in refuges until the age of 18, where you just go and defend for yourself, basically, which was totally fine because I felt like I was very independent and I built up a lot of life skills throughout that experience. So yeah, it was good.
All right, we had some technical issues here, but we are back. So after the age of 18, so you're like in a care, foster care?
Yeah, no. So around, when I was 18, I was living in a refuge, which is very similar to like an orphanage. I guess.
Are they good or are they bad?
Some are good, some are bad. I had some really bad experiences in some refuges.
What type of people you find there? Like what are the experience? Tell me like a crazy moment that you lived in refugee space.
Yeah, so you would. So a lot of these other kids are going through their own battles, their own like struggles in life. A lot of them have experienced homelessness at some point. A lot of them might have like addictions, whatever it is, whether it be like a drug addiction or whatever it is. They have always experienced something. And I know some stories where I was living in refuges, and sometimes people might be intoxicated, or they might be going through some wild times in life. They might be locked up in juvenile detention centers and then get out and then come to refuges. So I just feel like my whole life growing up, I was always on, I wouldn't say on edge, but just very, just knew my surroundings very well.
Yeah.
Would just be very like street smart. So yeah, I adapted to stress very well. And in fact, I was actually listening to this audio book not long ago, and it talks about charts of people going through stress. And if you experience stress as a child, the chart, you just build a new baseline when it peaks. and you start learning how to like adapt to like flight and fight mood and being able to just overcome some of these situations. So I think that's kind of what I did. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah.
And then you left the refugee, and where do you go?
Yeah, so left the refuge, and basically they just you're on yourself. So a refuge is sort of like a group home. So there's other kids, and once they turn 18, they were either they kind of assist you to go somewhere else. Just on my own, just moved in, just me and my twin brother, and then just decided to just
Get a job?
get a job. I was doing music a lot as well, so I was studying music. I was doing a bachelor's degree of composition and production.
Oh,
when
wow.
when did you start that? Was that before the refugee or?
No, that was in 2013. And no, that was during the refuge. So through the assist of some of the refuge, they helped me get into university and
That's
being able
cool.
to do that, because I was actually, when I experienced homelessness, I actually left school at the age of year 8. So at year 8, I left school, and it wasn't until later that I was in a refuge that they helped me complete my high school certificate, helped me to get into university, because it was a very hard process. So if you get kicked out of school or you don't attend school, it's very hard to go and do tertiary study at university. So that was a bit of a process to get through. But
It's like readapting to society, right? Re-including you society again.
yeah, and learning how to like go to school and like understand the whole study. Yeah.
All right. And then you start, like, after the refuge, you start living with your brother, twin brother, and then you finish your degree in music. And what led you to the Australians Got Talent? What were the first steps, and how did you get into it?
Yeah. The first step of how I actually got into it was I actually was pursuing music way before that. I was chasing music. I was just writing music. But in 2000, I think it was in 2015, I got the opportunity to in Australia at the World Championships of Performing Arts over
Wow.
in Los Angeles, and ended up winning a gold medal for Australia in music. And
Oh, wow.
That's crazy,
yeah,
man. I
so-
didn't know that.
yeah, and then came back to Australia, became an ambassador of my city, and then
What city?
Parramatta City.
That's how we met.
Appointed by the Lord Mayor. Yeah. And then I decided to share my music a little bit more with the world, and went on Australia's Got Talent to hope. I guess the main reason I went on Australia's Got Talent was to raise awareness for youth homelessness and to kind of, just shed light on that situation. I feel like it's a massive situation. There's like between the ages of 12 to 25, there's like over 25,000 homeless youth on the streets in a year, throughout the year. So I was like, I might shed light on this situation, but also help use my music in hopes to inspire in that process. Yeah.
Right. And, like, how did you get into it? Like, in the sense, like, would you invite it? Like, if I want to go to Australians Got Talent, like,
Yeah.
what do I do?
So at that time, because I was doing a fair bit of music with a few different organizations, I was working as an ambassador. So we would go into like some schools and like youth centers and detention centers and share music and how to like songwrite. And basically they reached out to me and said, hey, we've heard your story. We think it'd be great if you came on the show.
So
and
they reached out to you?
Yeah. So they reached out to my management team, and we decided thought it'd be a good opportunity to share my music. Yeah.
When you like put yourself out there and you kind of like program the universe around you, so you attract the things that you want to attract to your life, and I think that's what happened.
Yeah, definitely. It was, I would say the most rewarding thing about going on the show was the messages of people reaching out saying that they've either overcome something through music, not necessarily just my music, through the power of music and how it's helped change them, or how they've overcome like homelessness, or they've overcome like some difficult times in their life, and how even my music and the lyrics have kind of given them hope and stuff. So I guess that was pretty rewarding and an incredible experience. Yeah.